Hello students, this is Nita Shetty, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, HIT Mangalore. So in today's session, we'll begin with the fifth module, that is Syntax Directed Translation. So in this subject, that is System Software and Compiler Design, first two modules are assembler. So next three modules are about the compiler, that is compiler phases. So in module 3 we have seen the lexical analyzer phase, right? In module 3 we have seen the lexical analyzer phase. So in module 4 we have seen the second phase, that is syntax analyzer, that is parser. So we have studied in detail the module 4 about the parser. In module 5 we are studying the remaining phases of the analyzer, okay, that is remaining phase of the compiler. So we are studying about the semantic analyzer, that is syntax translation, then intermediate code generation, then target code generation. So let's see the content of this module. So we are seeing the syntax directed translation, the evaluation order of the syntax direct definition. So syntax directed translation and definitions are same. So first we are studying what is SDT and how to evaluate that. Okay, next we are seeing the variants of syntax tree, then tree address code, okay, that comes in intermediate code generation. Next, in the target code generation, what are the issues in the design of the code generator and the target language. So these are the concepts which comes under fifth module. So in today's session, in this session I'll be explaining syntax directed translation and evaluation of order of syntax directed definition. So let's begin. What is syntax directed translation scheme? A syntax directed translation scheme is a context-free grammar with program fragments embedded with the production bodies. Okay, so it is a CFG, syntax directed definition scheme is a CFG, that means it is a context-free grammar with program fragments embedded within the production bodies. So the program fragments are called semantic action and it can appear at any position within the production body. So here what we are doing is, for the given grammar contains set of production, and for each production we are writing the semantic rule. Okay, we are writing the semantic rule, or I can call it as a semantic action. So for each production we are writing the semantic action. So the program fragments are called semantic action and it can appear at any position within the production body. So here there are two different classes in SDT or SDD. So students, remember, SDT means it is syntax directed translation. SDD means it is syntax directed definitions. Okay, so there are two different types of syntax directed definition, that is S attribute and L attribute. Okay, so S is nothing but synthesized attribute. S is known as synthesized attribute. L is known as inherited attribute. Why the L is? It is left inherited attribute. That means inherited attribute in the left side, so it is left inherited attribute. So S means it is synthesized attribute, L means it is inherited or left inherited attribute. Okay, now what is this S attribute and L attribute? We'll see the difference later, but remember we are writing S attribute if the grammar is LR parser. Okay, so if the grammar is LR parser, then SDT is S attribute, and if the grammar is LL parser, then SDT is L attribute. Okay, so what is LR parser? LR and LL. So LL we call it as a top down parser, right? LL0. So LL1, okay, LL1. So if the grammar is LL parser, then SDD is L attribute. If the grammar is LR0, just recall in the previous module, fourth module, that is bottom up, then SDT is S attribute. Okay, so a syntax directed definition specifies a value of attribute by associating semantic rule with the grammar product. So this is a small definition for SDT. Okay, what is syntax directed definition? So syntax directed definition specifies the value of attribute by associating semantic rule with the grammar production. So remember students, SDT means for the given production we are putting the semantic rule. Okay, so we are attaching or we are adding the semantic rule rule for the production. So it is known as syntax directed definition. So let's look at an example. See here, the production is E gives E1 plus T. The production is E gives E1 plus T. Now how you can write the semantic rule? The semantic rule is written as we are writing E dot code, okay, so this is a syntax, it is a rule. So how we are writing is E dot code is equal to E1 dot code plus T dot code, and what is operator here? Plus is an operator. So this is a semantic rule for this production. Okay, so this is known as SDD, that is syntax directed definition. So now what is syntax directed definition? For the given production we are adding the rule, so that is known as syntax directed definition. So how to add the rule? If the production is E gives E1 plus T, we are writing E dot code, E1 dot code or T dot code, and next finally we are writing what is an operator. So operator is plus. Okay, so SDD is a context-free grammar with attributes and rules. SDD is a context-free grammar with attributes and rules. So the attributes are associated with the grammar symbols and rules with the production. Attributes are associated with the grammar symbols and rules with the production. So the attributes may be of many kinds like numbers, types, table, reference, string, etc. Okay, so these are the characteristics of SDD. So what are the characteristics of SDD? It is a context-free grammar with attributes and rules, and attributes are associated with the grammar symbols and rules with the production, and attributes may be of many kinds like numbers, types, table, reference, strings, etc. Okay, so I said there are two classes of SDD. They are inherited and synthesized attributes. These are the two kinds of attributes for non-terminals. Okay, these are the two different classes of SDD, or these are the two kinds of attributes for non-terminals. There are two attributes. They are synthesized attribute and inherited attribute. So what is synthesized attribute? A synthesized attributes at node n is defined only in terms of attribute value of children n and at n itself. So synthesized means it is an attribute at node n which is defined only in terms of attribute value of children n and at n itself. So it is synthesized, okay, which is derived from that node and it is specified to that node itself. Inherited means it is an inherited attribute at node n is defined only in terms of attribute value at n parents, n itself and n siblings. So this inheritance attributes which comes from parent, it can remain in that node or it can go to its siblings. That is inherited. Synthesized means that attribute is given for that node, only for that node or the children of that node. That is synthesized. Inherited means it comes from the parent or it can go to the siblings, n itself or siblings. So here you can say three things: n's parents, n itself and n siblings. Where the synthesized means it is only for n itself, all the children of n. Okay, so that is n attribute, synthesized attributes. So now you can see the difference between S attribute and L attribute. S attribute is a synthesized attribute, L attribute is an inherited attribute. Okay, so it is uses only synthesized attribute. It can be both inherited and synthesized attribute. In case of inheritance, it is restricted to the left hand side, so we call it as an L attribute. Okay, here the semantic actions are placed at the right hand side of the production. In S attribute, we are placing the semantic action in the right hand side of the production, whereas in L attribute, the semantic action can be placed anywhere on the production. Here in S attribute, attributes are evaluated during the bottom up parsing. Here the attributes are evaluated by traversing parse tree, depth first, left to right. Okay, so here how we can construct the bottom up parsing, how we can evaluate. Here attributes are evaluated during bottom up parsing, whereas inherited attributes are evaluated by traversing parse tree, depth first, left to right. So you can see the I said already it is a SDT. SDT means we are writing the rules in the production. So and I gave the one syntax how we are writing. For example, E gives E plus T means we are writing E dot code and E dot code bar T dot code bar plus, right? So you can see a simple SDT for the simple calculator here. So here semantic rules how we are written is L dot value is equal to E dot value. So these are the nothing but we are attaching the code for the production. So you are writing L dot value is equal to E dot value. E gives E1 plus T is E dot value, or you can write as E1 dot value, T dot value, or plus, or directly written E dot value is equal to E1 dot value plus T dot value. Again, E dot value is equal to T dot value. So T dot value is equal to T1 dot value into F dot value. So here T dot value is equal to F dot value. F dot value is equal to E dot value, and F dot value is equal to digit dot lexical value. Okay, so this is the last value, lexical value. Okay, so terminal. Okay, so for terminal we are writing, so here in this, which is a terminal, the terminal is only digit, so for digit you are writing it as a lexical value. Okay students, so you can write, or you can write E1 dot value bar T dot value bar plus. Okay, you can write in that way. So T1 dot value F dot value bar star, you can write like that. Okay, so next we can look at one parse tree. So this parse tree is known as annotated parse tree. So this parse tree is known as annotated parse tree. Now what is this annotated parse tree? So the parse tree showing the values of its attributes is known as annotated parse tree. Okay, the parse tree showing the value of its attribute is known as annotated parse tree. And so you can see here, so this is a parse tree. Okay, so which is showing the value of its attributes. So you can see here, this parse tree is constructed for the given expression, and the given expression is 3 star 5 plus 4n. So this is a given expression, 3 star 5 plus 4n. So here you can see the value of each attribute. That means in each node you can see the value, right? So this is known as annotated parse tree. Okay, so here in each node you can see the value. So this is known as annotated parse tree. So now how to construct annotated parse tree for the given expression. The given expression is 3 star 5 plus 4n. So what I'm doing here is, so 3 is a terminal, 5 is a terminal, and 4 is a terminal, right? Because all these are lexical value. Okay, for the given, for using this I'm constructing the parse tree. You can see here the value is nothing but I wrote digit dot lexical value. So I'm writing the leaf node first. So 3, 5, 4. 3, 5 and 4. Okay, so here the 3 is nothing but it is a digit, right? So it is digit dot lexical value, digit dot lexical value, digit dot lexical value. So 3 is getting reduced to F dot value, F dot value is reducing to T dot value. Okay, 5 is so 5 is getting reduced to F dot value. Okay, here digit dot lexical value is getting reduced to F dot value, and here digit dot lexical value 5 is getting reduced to F dot value, and digit dot lexical value 4 is getting reduced to F dot value. Okay, so again F dot value is getting reduced to T dot value. Okay, so F dot value is getting reduced to T dot value, and here F dot value is getting reduced to T dot value. Okay, so why I'm reducing it? Because I'm following this grammar. So this grammar says F gives digit or F gives E. Okay, and this E can be reduced to F, that is a meaning, right? Or F can reduce to T, or T star F can reduce to T, right? Or E plus T or bar T can reduce to E, and finally E can reduce to L. So that is a given grammar. So here I am writing here this 3 getting reduced to F, and 5 getting reduced to here F, and this 4 lexical terminal is getting reduced to F. Next I am reducing this F to T. Okay, so this F to T and this F to T. Okay, I am reducing here. Okay, so here 3 into 5 is 15. Okay, so 3 into 5 is 15. So here I am multiplying it T star F, right? T star F. So T star F is getting reduced to T. T star F is getting reduced to T. Okay, so here and here, so when you multiply 3 star 5 you will get 15, right? 3 star 5 you will get 15. Okay, next here 15 plus 4. Okay, so 15 plus 4 I am getting reduced to E. okay, because E plus T you see here, E plus T can be reduced to E, right? So I'm doing here E plus T getting reduced to E. So 15 plus 4 getting reduced to 19, and finally 19 gives L, okay, and here N because it is 4N. So this is how we are drawing an annotated parts tree, okay. So this is how we are drawing an annotated parts tree, okay. So this is nothing but this graph along, see in top down and bottom up we are showing just node, right, but here we are showing the value of the node. So this is known as not just a parts tree, this is known as annotated parts tree, which shows the value. So you can see here first it was 3, then the value is getting reduced, okay, at the same time it is evaluating 3 into 5 15, and here you can see here it was 4, so 15 plus 4 it is 19, finally you are getting 19, okay. So this is known as annotated parts tree. Okay, so the evaluation order, so we can evaluate more using dependency graph, okay. So you can evaluate the SDT using dependency graph. So what is this dependency graph? So dependency graph are useful tool for determining the evaluation order for attribute instance in a given parse tree. So dependency graphs are useful tool for determining an evaluation order for the attributes instance in a given parse tree. So while an annotated parse tree shows the value of attribute, a dependency graph helps us to determine how those value can be computed, okay. So the dependency graphs are useful tool. Okay, so and one way is you can show the annotated parse tree, but in dependency graph it is a more efficient than the annotated parse tree. So why? Because in annotated parse tree it shows the value of attributes, but dependency graph helps us determine how those value can be computed. So first we'll see what is dependency graph in detail. A dependency graph depicts the flow of information among the attributes instance in a particular parse tree and edges from one attribute instance to another means that the value of the first need is to compute the second. So it just explains the constraint implied by the semantic rules in more detail. Here, for each parse tree node, say node labeled by the grammar symbol X, the dependency graph has a node for each attribute associated with the X. Suppose that semantic rule associated with the production P defines a value of the synthesized attribute A into B in terms of value of X into C, then the dependency graph has an edge from X into C to A into B. So more precisely, at every node N labeled A where production P is applied, it creates an edge to attribute B at N from the attribute C at child of N corresponding to instance of the symbol X in the body of the production. Suppose that semantic rule associated with the production P defines a value of the inherited attribute B dot C in terms of value of X dot A, then the dependency graph has an edge from X dot A to B dot C. So for each node N labeled B that corresponds to an occurrence of this B in the body of the production B. So it creates an edge to an attribute C at N from the attribute A to node M. So when I read this you feel complicated, but let me show the diagram, okay, so it is more easier. So this is a diagram showing the dependency graph only for this production. So production is E gives E1 plus T, and the rule is E dot value is equal to E1 dot value plus T1 dot value. So let me explain how to draw the dependency graph for this production. Okay, so E gives E1 plus T. How to write the production? E dot E value is equal to E1 dot value plus T dot value. So here at every node N labeled E with the children corresponding to the body of this production, the synthesized attribute value at N is computed using the value of two children labeled E and T. So here E is a root node and this is computing the using children E1 and T. Okay, the portion of the dependency graph for every parse tree in which this production is used, like in the figure. So as a convention, we shall show the parse tree edges as a dotted line while the edges of the dependency graphs are solid. So look at the difference here. The dotted line is parse tree edges while the dependency graphs are solid. So here you are showing the arrow mark for value is a solid edge, and for the node using the dotted lines. Okay, so this is how we are constructing a dependency graph. So here E gives E1 plus T. Okay, so here the node is shown in the dotted lines, the value is shown in the solid edge. Okay, so this is how we are drawing a dependency graph. So this is a graph showing for this production E gives E1 plus T. Okay, so let's do the last one. Construct the syntax tree for the given expression a minus 4 plus c using the grammar. Okay, construct the syntax tree for the given expression a minus 4 plus c using the grammar. So this is the given production. E gives E1 plus t, E gives E1 minus t, E gives t, T gives E, T gives ID, T gives number. So this is a production. So we need to construct a dependency graph. Okay, so construct a syntax tree at the given, so they can ask a dependency graph. Okay, so both are same, don't get confused here. So this is a syntax tree, or you can call it as a dependency graph for the expression a minus 4 plus c, and this is a given production. So first write the semantics rule for each production. Write the semantic rule for the each production. E dot node is equal to, okay, here what I'm doing is I'm constructing the dependency graph using a pointer concept. Okay, so here I'm creating a new node with these attributes, these parameters. So the parameters are, so first you need to write the operator, and what are the operand E1 comma T, right? See, I'm creating a new node. What are the operator? Operator is plus, and here what are the operands? Two operands E1 and T. So I'm naming operand as E1 dot node comma T dot node. Okay, so here plus E1 dot node comma T dot node. So second one I'm writing E dot node is equal to new node, operator is minus E1 dot node comma T dot node. So next E dot node is equal to T dot node, T dot node is equal to E dot node, T dot node is equal to new leaf node with the identifier, and you're entering the value, so ID dot entry, and last one T dot node is equal to new leaf num comma value. Okay, so this is a semantic rule. And finally, so this is a, I'm attaching this rule for the given production. Okay, we call this as an SDD, syntax directed definition. And here why this new node is because I'm constructing using a pointer concept. Okay, so you can just write node, but I'm showing the dependency graph with the pointer concept, so I'm using a new here. Okay, that means I'm creating a new node. Okay, so first is operator, next two are operands. So you can see this is a graph showing the dependency graph showing for the a minus 4 plus c. So you can see first is an identifier, so a minus 4 identifier, my 4 and c, you can see value here. Okay, so next is a symbol minus here. Okay, so plus, and see how this is getting reduced. So identifier, so ID I'm reducing to T node, next I'm reducing to E node. Okay, so here minus, plus is a number which is getting reduced to T. Okay, next identifier which is reduced to T node, so E minus T is E here. Okay, so next plus, so you can see here the dotted lines. I told the value is showing the dotted lines in dependency graph, but I not shown the solid lines here. Okay, so you can write the solid lines also, no problem, but here I've shown on the dotted lines. So here ID getting reduced to T, T getting reduced to E, here num is reduced into T, so E minus T is E here. So next it is identifier which will get reduced to E node. Okay, so this is a dependency graph using pointer concept. So this is P1, P2, P3, P4, which is the pointer. So this is how we are drawing the dependency graph for the given grammar, and this is a given expression a minus 4 plus c. Okay, this is about SDT. I'll continue in my next session. Remaining concept I'll continue in my next session. Thank you.